You're listening to Thinking Out Loud, where two buddies nip it right in, ranting over topics about humans and their humanities and sometimes their lack thereof. Topics as diverse and colorful as their race and humor that tickle their curious, peculiar bones. And would yours too if you think along. One's a budding psychologist, and another's a psychological case. Hop in the whirlpool of worldly ventures. You're invited. As a continuation to the previous part of this episode, we discuss about movies, TV shows, and games, and dreams, and many other things that we are actively or passively engaged in. The reason why we are engaged in, the functions of the psyche, the mind when we are engaged in these activities, both active and passive. So, yeah, these are all things that we discuss in this part. Hope you enjoy it.
It is that they are like तुम्हारे सामने रखा है because we know your IQ. Please figure it out, people.
Exactly.
For that matter, there is this game जिसमें अभी बहुत बहुत फेमस हो गया था वो कोरोना के just starting में वायरस स्प्रेड करना. It's pandemic game. I don't know its name, but
Yes, I know that. I know that game. I know that game. I tried playing
outbreak,
that game.
epidemic, pandemic, something like that.
A very difficult game.
Virus Inc. I think that was the name.
Yes, yes, yes. Virus Inc. INC. Yes.
Yeah, it was that. Okay.
Yes, Virus Inc. मैंने खेला है. बहुत difficult game.
I remember this kid who I was एक बार ऐसे बैठा था उसके साथ, and this kid इतना सही दिमाग लगाता है वो खेलने में वो game, and he's like how he manipulates the DNA of the qualities of the virus. It will spread, but it will not show any symptoms. So people को social distancing नहीं, and it will spread. उसके बाद अचानक से it will show symptoms. और ऐसे करके भाई साहब वो दिखा रहे थे how कितने सालों में
म्यूटेट कर रहा था वो चीज को.
हाँ कितने सालों में उसका एंटीडोट बनेगा. And then इतने लोग are getting finished. My God, how that game proceeded, no?
Yes.
And people are, who created this? ये किसने ये game create किया? Did it give ideas to somebody? That conspiracies about how Corona started, was it in a lab or was it real? वगैरह.
Yeah, I think even I came across that as a recommendation on my phone. Play Store पे recommend हुआ था वो. मैंने सोचा अरे वाह, let's try this. Let me also try.
वो गेम तो फटा था भी. वो गेम एकदम फटा था भी.
But then after I was failing in killing, since I'm not the mega super villain headed person, I could not be successful. Not Megamind. Megamind was a good person in the end. Anyways, a mega super villain head.
Right.
तो वैसा दिमाग नहीं था तो I was never successful in annihilating the whole world. 50% में मेरा वायरस का एंटीडोट निकल जाता था.
Oh my God, you should really learn from those kids here.
Anyways, yeah. So games. Another thing, games are also a narrative. The reason why people games or why they escape into games, apart from the dopamine inducing effect, is they're trying to escape from a lot of stuff, the reality. A narrative that they, as you were mentioning in the beginning, people, why they want to play certain games, the personality, and we're asking those while choosing those characters, are they having that the same personality with similarities that they see, or is it because they just want to explore more about it? So why I say it's more about what you choose is more close to your personality is because sometimes people they play games for escaping, and while playing these games, the narrative of that particular game, for example, a game which has a particular story, like those movies, or even for that matter, as you mentioned, where you decide the fate of the character, and according to that, those choices that you make, there is the story unfolds. So it's like
Even
people somewhere have lost control in their own decision making, and they're trying to what correct themselves through those games, escaping through those
Or
games.
maybe just live out another life. The way Sims in Second Life are.
Second life,
Role
yes,
playing game.
a life not
Just
lived.
letting you
And
do what you want to do. Yeah, it
yes.
is a second chance at doing the things you wanted to do.
Hmm.
And that game, it even has an option of making a shop, a business inside the
Hmm.
game, and then exchange tokens, and that translate with real
Uh,
money.
Second life, mein, na? Yes.
Yeah, that it has that.
Second life,
It
mein.
sort of reminds me of there was this show called Johnny Quest.
Yes, I remember. I remember that game.
This we used to go immerse into it, and then they would fight in some cyber world.
Yes, yes, they used to wear those black leotards, shining
Yeah,
leotards
and
when they would get
अजीब
into
से
that.
एक रिक्लाइनर पे बैठ जाते थे
हाँ
वो
हाँ
उनके
हाँ.
ब्रेन पे डालते थे वगैरह.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I used to enjoy that cartoon because of the uh, graphics graphics when
Graphics.
that they used at that time for the digital
And the
VR
Indian guy with the
immersive.
dog.
Sorry.
The Indian guy with the dog. Very
Yes, yes.
Indian
The
looking
Indian looking guy with the
clothing also.
turban.
Clothing दिखा दिया
Yes.
in case you missed it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and इसके बाद I link it to this other movie called Surrogates. Do you remember that Bruce Willis का movie where people have stopped living on their own, they just live through their surrogate, their clone.
Surrogate, यार मैंने देखा होगा. I'm forgetting.
Check it. The same thing. They immerse themselves. Their brain connects to their clone, and the surrogate lives. And then there is this one scene जिसमें Bruce Willis या कुछ तो भी क्या होता है. I think he disconnects the surrogates. सब रास्ते पे जो भी चल रहे वो गिर जाते हैं फुट ऐसे उधर ही गिर जाते हैं.
मैं मूवी देखा है बट मैं भूल गया हूँ. I remember, I know this movie, but I'm forgetting the whole story and everything because I was quite young to understand this movie at that time.
So rolling from that point, there is this other game जो एक Japanese बहुत ही पुराने and अभी काफी famous हो गया Japanese. You know how Japanese are so ahead of their time when they think about technology and fiction. So this game called Sword Art Online. You have heard of it?
नाम सुना है.
And it is वही. People are living in this fantasy world.
Virtual fantasy.
Virtual world. Virtual fantasy world. Yes, it is fantasy, and it is built by some military scientist who's trying to find a way to implant consciousness from people into a game, something like that. I am not sure. But if you bring all these points together, Johnny Quest and Surrogate and Ye, and then this second life, who knows, yaar, if you could, like if everything you experience in your life is actually recorded by the brain and is experienced because of neurochemical reactions, then you could maybe connect with another creature, or if not another clone, you go into this virtually immersed. That was the this new technology जो अभी आया है. It's called full dive. Have you heard of that?
Full dive तो नहीं पता.
Full dive का मतलब है you go sensorily into the virtual reality. You experience everything. Your body is paralyzed. You know that when you go to sleep, there is a certain chemical which is released in your body, a certain hormone which paralyzes you so that you don't act out your dreams.
What is that hormone?
Please check it. It is some hormone. मैंने पढ़ा था ये. Just let's verify if it is
Verify
there.
it. Yes, sleep hormone that.
And if it is there, full dive में it is used, so you can experience it like you're experiencing real time dream, and you won't move from the place, but you will have every sensory and neurochemical reaction and the perception. क्योंकि mind के लिए it is actually, it doesn't make a difference whether you're hallucinating reality. I remember this TED talk which says your brain hallucinates reality. So I didn't see it. Again, मैं नाम पे ही जा रहा रहेगा. नाम में भी a clickbait. TED is very famous for that. So
Wait, just let me find out how muscles are paralyzed during sleep. Finding me suggesting treatments for sleep disorders.
for your mind, it is not really that different whether you're seeing a dream or reality or even a virtual a game. And maybe as a second life वगैरह चल पड़ा, तो people could create their own virtual worlds, और उसमें भी वापस वैसे ही उनका human character will come out, forming these cliques and groups and communities. And हमारा community अलग. It will be like so socially. It may be a Black Mirror scenario. कितना अपन link किया इधर. Like we could make a mind map of this. All of these references that we just used.
Okay. So Wait, I am lost. I'll re-listen to all what you have said because मैं यहाँ ये पढ़ रहा था article. So I think the
और क्या
neurotransmitter that you were saying, the hormone that you were saying is GABA, according to this particular.
GABA है
During REM sleep, the deep sleep where most recalled dreams occur, your eyes continue to move, but the rest of your body muscles are stopped, potentially to prevent injury. So, in a series of experiments, University of Toronto neuroscientist Patricia L. Brook and John H. Peaver, PhD, had found that the neurotransmitters GABA aminobutyric acid, that is gamma aminobutyric acid, that is GABA, and glycine cause REM sleep paralysis in rats by switching off the specialized cells in the brain that allows muscles to be active. So this might be the.
so is it that somnambulists जो है who even do stuff in their sleep, not just walk? They are called sleepwalkers, but they do stuff in sleep, which is not just walking. Could it be that they are living a dream, or they're not in a dream, or their chemical वो कम हो गया उनके अंदर?
Wait, so it's like acting out the dream. Just let say whatever
Check it
you
out.
just repeat everything whatever you said right now.
Let me what?
Just repeat whatever you said right now.
About somnambulism?
Yes, start from there.
So they're called sleepwalkers, but they're not really sleepwalkers because they do stuff. They've sometimes even committed crimes in sleep. They are acting out a dream, or is it not a dream but something else? क्या हो रहा है उसमें?
This
Is the
reminds me
chemical
of
not
one of
being
the episodes from House.
house?
House MD. House MD. इसमें
Lol.
इसमें the father he is doing stuff in his sleep. He is doing stuff, and that doing stuff he is doing cocaine in his sleep. Although they later on realized that the whole sleepwalking thing was some Middle East syndrome, which gets activated due to them coming away from the environment and the weather and the ecosystem of Middle East, and in America में वो activate हो जाता है. But anyways, not going into that.
Like a special case of jet lag or something?
No. It's not a jet lag thing. They have been staying in America for a very long time. They have migrated, and they're now an American citizen with their names have been even Americanized. But
House
they
never show
originally,
any realistic
but
stuff.
they originally are from Middle East. So House does his epiphany moment and not sorry the eureka moment, not the epiphany. Sorry, he has his own eureka moment, and उसमें so epiphany भी वही, it's right. So where he realizes, oh, this is the reason. Anyways, not going much into that. So
It's something called
it's
Middle
not
East syndrome or
necessary.
something.
Middle East syndrome, yes. So it's not specific. It might not be necessary that the person, whatever he's doing in real life, is being done also in the dream. He might not even be dreaming, but his uh, body is working out whatever it does naturally, or something which is not being done openly. He's a father in that particular episode. He's a father, a good father who's taking care of his daughter after his wife dies and all. But why would he do cocaine? Is he stressed out? Is he Does he want to live a life where he's able to feel some kind of happiness?
Or maybe not feel consequences.
Definitely. Why did he do a cocaine while he was sleeping? That is the question.
Narcotics is illegal, na?
Definitely it's illegal, but then when they find out what the cause was, one of the symptoms of that particular disorder was the father and the daughter. Even the daughter was also suffering from that same stuff. The father and daughter never felt happy. They were never smiling, even at the moment of happiness. And while that man was sleeping and sleepwalking, the person was doing cocaine. He was trying to somewhere compensate for his happiness through his activities while sleepwalking, where that is a side of his brain, a side of his psyche that he was repressing when he was conscious. He was trying to compensate for that when he was unconscious and sleepwalking.
Maybe people can do that in games also now. Full
That,
dive.
that is why I said these narratives and these gamings somewhere are a person's unlived life, a person's
Unlived.
unlived moments, or a person's missed moments that he wants or he has missed and he wished that he had it, or something that he cannot achieve but that he wants it from that thing.
I wonder, apart from this very real thing that people have unlived
Mm-hmm.
stuff, could it also be just curious exploration? Although मेरे को ऐसा मन में एक और thought आता है कि why though, if you are actually fulfilled in life, would you really care about exploring somebody else's life?
Mm-hmm.
Or could it just be a bunch of psychologists
Mm-hmm.
wanting to make a game through which they can explore perspective of another person, maybe even another time, even another era in history or future,
Mm-hmm.
right? कि
Yeah,
why this
yeah,
happened, a psychohistory or a futuristic, how the future human will be, उसका
yeah.
क्या हालत होगा. Or वैसे भी we
Correct.
can make future in our
A
even present world.
hypothetical scenario, as you said, future.
Hypothetical scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Even the past would be hypothetical, but it would have a little more. I mean, because we've come out of it, so we can figure it out a bit more than the
Correct, correct,
future.
correct. There will
Huh?
still be some valid source to refer to. Correct.
Particularly if the guy has written an honest autobiography, a
Mm-hmm.
diary, a journal of his stuff, like Hitler did,
Mm-hmm.
like Ibn Battuta did.
Correct.
If people like them, huh? Maybe that. But a psychologist just out of his own interest, his or her interest. This sword art online, this full dive that I was talking about. Isse I remember one more movie called Minority Report, where Steven Spielberg ka movie, very
Tom Cruise, right?
amazing concept here. Ki before you done a thought crime, actually, before you even did the crime, they know and they catch you and put you in a limbo.
Okay.
So in Minority Report, Tom
Tom Cruise.
Cruise
Ha
is
ha ha.
officer, and there is this like if you are about to commit a crime, they'll catch. And
Mm-hmm.
there's a catch about that also, that you can be made to look like you committed a crime, which is what Tom Cruise is framed for by his boss. Oh, we
Mm-hmm.
gave a lot of spoilers there. There's this in this city itself, जहाँ पे Tom Cruise है, there is this hood kind of a place जिधर एक arcade है where you can go and live out any crimes that you want to. Remember that one scene?
यार उतना तो याद नहीं आ रहा. It's so old movie.
But
मैंने
there
भी
is this
ढंग से देखा नहीं है ये वाला टीवी
you go
चैनल्स.
to this wrong side of the town, and there
Mm-hmm.
is this arcade जहाँ पे you can pay and go and live out whatever you want to live out, and
Mm-hmm.
particularly illegal stuff, nefarious stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that could be something. It could show, because anyways people do live vicariously through movies.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they don't just live, they get fueled also to want to do it. How many times we've heard of some guy doing some shit after seeing a movie about it. This darkness, the dark psyche that came out. Movies and games can act like projective tests in that way, or projective art.
प्रोजेक्टिव टेस्ट तो है रही है, ना तो पता है.
है ना? उतना तो है यार. There's this test also, I remember, Zonzi's test. Zonzi, Zondi.
S Z
Zondi.
O N
Zondi.
D I. Okay, songs.
Where if he shows a couple cluster of images of
Mm-hmm.
faces,
Mm-hmm.
and the one face which creeps you out the most is actually your dark sides. Again, this is Jung's archetypes. You can see that it is your shadow self.
Shadow.
The shadow self. Again, you can bring so much of this psychology into games, because gaming is, after all, art and entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
And art always is a sort of expression of your inner side, your emotions, of your psyche.
Mm-hmm.
I like that angle of video games there, and this angle of narrative, of living out, and of people wanting to escape or wanting to just experience. Maybe not escape, just experience. But
Maybe
then
not
Black Mirror,
escape, maybe experience what they have missed, maybe experience what they will never be able to.
never be able to, or someone else's perspective. Just research, just research
A
Research
curiosity.
drug.
It,
It's
in the
recreational
end,
drug.
it's about. It depends on the person who. Depends on the whole person who is doing it. What we are doing
But
here
you
is
know,
all speculations.
yeah.
हम जो कर रहे हैं यहाँ पे, these are all speculations.
But you know the thing about it is a person. The person had a starting initial motive.
Hmm.
Then the game starts molding the person also, na? In a way.
Game. Usually, you
Just go.
start playing a game out of curiosity,
Yeah.
and
Have fun and games
as you
until.
said, this as the story or as the game starts moving forward, as it keeps progressing,
Or
there
as
are
you keep
chances
playing. As you
that
keep playing more and more games, it becomes your routine. It becomes that dopamine thrill. Then you get into it. And then you try other games. And games may be like drugs also. They have an effect. There is something called internet game addiction, I think.
it, according to some research, this is regarding pornography. Though I have heard about this. So pornography addiction, those who are addicted to pornography, the part of the brain which is associated with drug addiction, it lit up when they were shown pornography. So, which meant that it is addicting. This might also be true with games also. If that game, while playing that game, that is, that particular part of the brain which is associated with drug addiction, if that part gets lit up, I am sure there must be some neuroscientists who have done this experiment. Then yes, it is definitely addicting. That is why that particular part of the brain which is associated. I am repeating myself again. Yes. So yeah, you got the point.
There is, there is the reward circuit, the dopamine spike, the
Maybe,
reward
maybe, maybe.
circuit.
So
And
where
in
it
the game,
is, I don't know. I heard this from one of those TED talks. I think not TED talks. It was a random lecture by Ben Shapiro. Shapiro. I don't know how to pronounce his name.
and you know there is a lot of help that these days. So all these technology companies take from psychologists
Mm-hmm.
and advertisers take, and in making products and product design itself, the product should be so that you feel it appeasing. Of course, you know the difference between a well-made website and a shitty-made website. You know UI and
Mm-hmm.
UX, and there is this whole thing ki social media and these games जैसे कि Candy Crush वगैरह, there is an immediate reward, there is an immediate spike. You see a
Mm-hmm.
like, you see a view, you see more riveting stuff, and it is always in a feed. I say ekdam, it is so easy to scroll down, 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 and in a game it is so easy to keep doing the same thing, a rote thing, and keep getting that reward feeling. और थोड़ा सा भी सेंसरी स्पाइक आया कि ऐसा एक चमक के कुछ रिवॉर्ड मिला, एक मस्त सा ट्यून आया टिंग करके,
Yes.
और इफ यू डूइंग अ
Human.
सोशल प्ले आल्सो
This
कंपटीशन
is
का पार्ट
this
भी
is
आ गया.
what whatever you have mentioned right now. This is all part of human factors psychology.
Okay.
And human factor psychology, this focuses on a range of unique topics such as ergonomics, human errors, worksite safety, product engineering, human machine interactions, whatever that you have mentioned now, softwares, gaming, product designing, it comes under human factor psychology. It mixes with psychology and engineering and product design.
Mostly tech.
Mostly tech, mostly machines, mostly anything which is going to come and used by human beings. Products,
Huh.
which can be anything.
Even cars could be then.
Yes, yes, yes. As I said, it mixes. So human factor psychology, it mixes psychology and engineering. I think IIT इंदौर कौन सा है? Wait, IIT इंदौर है क्या? I confused get confused with yes. So IIT इंदौर मध्य प्रदेश yes. IIT इंदौर का जो psychology department है, it focuses on human factor psychology. That is, if anyone is interested who is listening this podcast, who is interested in human factor psychology and mixing engineering and psychology together, IIT Indore psychology department. Go for it.
Amazing. We'll put a link to that. Don't worry. And it's a game of attention. Na? It's getting attention and getting it hooked attention. And video games have that aspect of flow experience. You know, everything that it takes to go into a flow experience. If you know Sixth Mihaly, you heard that name. And there is the another guy, abhi recent one, Stephen Coulter. He's done a lot of research in it. Ki kaise flow experience can be induced. That word is being used here, induced. It should be an activity for fun. It should get your attention. There should be immediate feedback and a challenge level which is entertaining enough for you to continue. And it should be played, or the activity should be performed for about 90 minutes. And then you will go into that flow state. If you're winning, if you're getting that constant
flow state, a sportsman have this flow state of mind where
sportsman to do, but video games, it is very conducively put in.
it's deliberately put in video games.
Yeah,
Yes.
it can be. That is the aspect, and that's where you can see the joy really is of the flow. It is not even a movie or a book which is so riveting. It is the joy of having your attention enraptured into something. And a conversation could be that, art could be that, a video game, a sport, a scientific research, anything which has this basic aspect of cognition. Key, your mind has gone into a flow. You're just paying attention effortlessly, and it is challenging enough, and you
it's smooth. Even if it is challenging, it's very smooth for you.
It's
Sportsmen
that is
have described this flow state
as a zone.
Yes, the zone. Yeah, the zone reminds me of that movie, Walter Mitty. There is still a lot more to go, guys. I hope you guys are enjoying it. Stay tuned for the next part. Thank you.